Very excited for that. But I didn't know quite how beautiful it would be in person. I bought a Raven Cycle shirt. Hi everyone. Welcome to another video. My name is Carrie. Thank you for being here. I'm doing a kind of out of character video. I'm doing a little bit of a book-ish haul because it is not only books. And I'm also in a different setting. I'm in America. I feel like most people know this, but I get some people who are like, what? You live in Korea? I do normally live in Korea. My home is in Korea. I live in Seoul, but I am visiting my parents out here in Pennsylvania, and I will show you the room I'm in a second. So throughout the past couple of months, I have collected a few things that I just really would like to share with you. I feel like you guys would really appreciate it. So I'm going to share those in a moment, but first, a shout out to the sponsor of this video, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning platform that I actually have not only been a student with, but I'm also a teacher. So they have classes ranging from UI UX design to how to organize your closet. Literally anything you can think of, any skill, they will have a course on it. I always hype up their creative writing classes because they have an incredible wealth of knowledge. Like the group of instructors available on Skillshare is mind-boggling. So I always say, go check out the creative writing. However, if you are interested in starting YouTube, I have a class that is literally just an introduction, what stuff you need to buy, and then just kind of what mindset you want to be in, how to stop telling yourself that you are not ready to start, because you are ready. You literally need a phone that has a camera. Yeah, I will link my class down below, but also there will be a link in the description box.
And the first 500 people to use that link will get access to one of Skillshare's best offers. You will get a month free plus 40% off of your first year of Skillshare membership.
Highly recommend. I've been using them for years, and so thank you as always to Skillshare for sponsoring this. Truly, I feel like as we enter autumn and winter for most of us, that is like when we start to burrow into our homes and pick up a new craft. Skillshare, okay? So anyway, how do I start this? I'm so excited to talk about this. First of all, you can't really see it, so I feel like you guys, I haven't spoiled anything, but let me back up. Let me stand up. I am so not embarrassed. I purchased, if you can read it, I'm sorry it's a little wrinkled. I have been wearing it as pajamas for like this whole trip. I bought a Raven Cycle shirt. I just found it on Etsy and this girl designed it and I liked it. And yeah, I was hoping to get it in time for finishing my video, but it's not. So now this is my new, honestly, I'm not even gonna wear it just as pajamas. I feel like it's a cute little oversized tee moment. I like it. I normally roll up the sleeves a little bit just to give it a little, a little more tailored look. Anyway, so yeah, I've joined the club. I wish someone would make a better, I still call it Agley because I can't pronounce the school's name, but like a better sweater, like an academic sweater for that school, because I would wear the heck out of it. Anyway, so yeah, I'll link that down below. That was such a good find. But what I initially, the book part of the book haul, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Also, wait, look at the light. Doesn't this look magical? I mean, oh, spoiler, I bought a book. But look at how it's shimmering. Oh my gosh. So yeah, your girl bought it. I, as you guys might know, have a main channel. It's a vlogging channel where I share my travels and my life. And I recently went to the UK for a couple weeks in summer, and we were in Bath for quite a few days, and every single day we went into Toppings, which is a absolutely marvelous bookstore. Shout out to Joel from Fictional Fates for recommending it to me. I want to live there. This bookstore is just gorgeous, and they give you complimentary coffee and tea. Like if you're there browsing, someone will walk up to you and be like, hey, do you want a coffee? Stunning. We love it. That is where I stumbled upon a book event that Samantha Shannon was at, and she did a whole talk about the re-release of the Bone season. It was just truly a magical bookstore. And I was traveling. I had been in Iceland prior to that trip, and then I immediately went to the UK, and then I was going home. So I was traveling with, I do carry-on luggage, and I was at the limit. I could not purchase anything else. And so luckily my mom is also a a bookworm, and we figured together it would make sense if, you know, if we're buying a couple of books, we might as well just ship them home. So I bought a few books and I shipped them to the US, and so now that I have them, I can share them with you, and they are better than I expected. I kind of bought books that I knew I wanted to have. So if you wonder why I don't do book hauls, I mostly utilize the library. I use Libby, which is an incredible app. You should absolutely check if your local library uses it. There are a lot also, like definitely look up available digital libraries because you would be surprised what your hometown might have. So my home library, I have a library card still in the US, and so I use Libby, and through that I can borrow and also request books in case my library doesn't happen to have it. You can also pre-put books on hold. Like there are so many books that are coming out this autumn, and I have put myself on the holds list before it's even out yet, so check that out. But anyway, so these two were books that I already knew I really wanted, and so I actually didn't even really look at them. I kind of just grabbed them off the shelves and I was like, yes, these two, please put them in the box, send them away before I look at anything else and I try to buy anything else. So when I got home on this trip to actually see them, I was pleasantly surprised. I was already gonna be excited either way, but these were both illustrated. I knew that the Holly Black one was illustrated, but I didn't know quite how beautiful it would be in person. And then ditto for the one for my enemy. I saw the illustrations when I read it on my Kindle edition, but I kind of was like, whatever. In person, they're gorgeous. So let me show you. I got one for my enemy by Olivia Blake. As you guys know, I've talked about this. I did not love the Atlas 6. I was okay with Alone with You in the Ether. So for her, she is so hit or miss, but this, it just came to me at the right time, and it was just, for some reason, it hooked its little claws into me, and I really, really love this book. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I know this would not be a book for everybody. So definitely, I would say, utilize the library. Try reading it first before purchasing it because this is a hefty book. But I did happen to find a signed first edition. I normally don't care, but I figured if I had the option of getting the regular one or the signed one and they were the same price, why not get a signed one? So I'll show you some close-ups, but it does have full page illustrations. I won't show you the later ones because they get a little spoilery, but just so good. Oh my god, also, no, oh, okay, so, when I was reading the Kindle version, I obviously saw those full page illustrations, right? What I didn't see was the inside cover. Look at this. It's the family. This is the, now I forget their names, but this is the daughters, the sons. Isn't that? When I opened the book, I was just like, oh my god. So yeah, I am going to take off this, but and then after that, I did finally get How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories. You guys, if you aren't new, you might know that I have a kind of love-hate relationship with Cardan. Don't we all? From The Cruel Prince. But after reading the series a couple of times, I have learned to live with early days Cardan, and you know, it's fine. I love this series. But so many people told me to actually read this book because it gives a lot of background that I felt like The Cruel Prince was missing. So these are all stories that include Cardan, and I'm pretty sure Jude's in here as well. But it just kind of gives you a understanding of our dear prince. And I'll show you, I'll do a flip through of the illustrations, but oh, so good. And now, to continue my bookish theme, I will show you the library, the room I'm in currently. So my parents, like I said, moved here pretty recently, and I was with them. We drove cross country. If you want to see that vlog, I will put it up here. We drove cross country and we started house hunting, and we looked at this house, and the second we saw this room, we were like, sold. Sold. So I'll show you. We've got this nice little setup. That's my Grammy's old chair, so it is very comfortable. Got some bookshelves, and then a nice little fireplace here. Those are pictures waiting to be hung. Don't don't mind them. We've got a little mini bookshelf going on, more books, just books everywhere you look. But then this is what got us. It's so pretty. Like, look at the light that comes in here through the trees, constantly flickering. Just so good. It is October 2nd. They haven't quite started. They like just started changing, but you can't really see. I'm just so excited. But so anyway, that is really what I wanted to show you. We're gonna hit a couple. We're actually going to Boston tomorrow, and and when I asked you guys for recommendations, you guys showed up. You sent me many bookstores to go to. So I am going to be including that in a vlog on my main channel if you want to see what we get up to in Boston. But I'm thinking of catching up with you a little bit later once I get back to Seoul, and I will do potentially another book haul. And then I also want to talk to you about what I read on the airplane. I tend to read my most unhinged books on the airplane, and I know that the next Married to Magic book came out. I made a video reading all of the Married to Magic books, and there is the maybe final one, I don't know, but it is about a siren duke. We've had a fairy, a vampire. What was the other guy? But anyway, now we have a merman, a siren. So I'm going to read that on the airplane, and I will catch up with you in my very jet-lagged, messed up state to talk to you about it, and I'm very excited. So I'm actually going to end this section of the video here, and there will be a time jump. But yeah, these, thank you so much to Toppings for sending these so nicely to me. So, all right, I'm going to catch you guys in a bit. I will also link this down below because, once again, just so good. I haven't seen, where was I? I think I was in the I was in Bath. I saw Aquatar merch in the wild. You usually don't see that much like in Korea, or at least I don't see it. People wearing bookish merch a little bit. You see a ton of the tote bags. That is a fashion trend that is international, universal. The Shakespeare & Co., the Daunt books. I see those all the time, and that's very exciting, but I've never seen like someone wear a t-shirt or have a keychain or have, some kind of custom thing that is a bookish reference other than like classics maybe. Yeah, I saw a girl walking around with, I forget what it even was, but it was so clearly an Aquatar shirt, and I was just like, oh my god, they exist. People who wear those exist in the open. So now I have one. So if you see me around, say hey. Anyway, okay, I'm going to end this here. I'm gonna go get coffee. I just woke up. I'll see you after I have consumed the Siren Duke. Bye. Hi everyone. Wow, welcome back to Korea. Got home about 12 hours ago, went to sleep, woke up at 3 a.m., which is so ridiculous because Kurt and I, both of us, neither of us recovered from jet lag the entire 10 days that we were in the US. So why are we back here, allegedly back in the time zone that our bodies were still in, and I have jet lag again? Like, what does my body want? But it was very nice. I went to Starbucks right when they opened because they're the only cafe in Korea that opens like before 9. I read a little bit and I got some packages. I'm excited to finish off the October book haul. This is just what a month it has been. What do you want first? Do you want some updates on what I read? No, I'll show you the packages first. As you saw, they got home safely. The 2 books that I bought in the UK that made it finally safely home, so thank you to Toppings. One from my enemy got a little bump right up here just because I was traveling with carry-on only luggage and they were gonna get squished regardless, but I'll take it. And then I went to Boston with my family and we were only there for 1 full day, but the day that we were leaving, my mom and I woke up early to make one last pit stop and we went to Brattle bookshop, which is a used bookstore. Their selection was like not 100% my favorite. They had some weird shelving going on. They had multiple copies of what was the book that I hated? The Cartographers. They had multiple copies of the Cartographers, but they were in YA, but also like not alphabetized, like one, I don't know. So I was confused, but I was lucky enough to stumble upon a used paperback of A Swiftly Tilting Planet, A Wrinkle in Time, A Wind in the Door. Like that whole series was very much my childhood, but I don't think I actually have the physical of A Swiftly Tilting Planet, and just this cover is so good. So I got that for like $4 maybe. I think it was $4 and then it was 50% off, so Also in Boston, I stopped in Beacon Hill Books and Cafe, and I didn't know this ahead of time, but their mascot, their logo for their bookshop is a squirrel, so everything they had a squirrel on it. And I bought some tea. I couldn't buy another book. I physically had no room, so I bought a Gardener's Mint, which I haven't even opened yet. So it's light, bright, and refreshing. You won't get a better start to the day or an end to the evening. Wonderful. And that was a beautiful bookstore. 2-3 stories and a basement cafe. Incredible. I also got a button from my mom, did some book event, and I went and I got this great button. Very excited for that find. But now I have books, I have things that I haven't opened. This is not book related. I'm gonna open it for you anyway, because you were here when I unboxed my candle warmer. And my candle warmer is now my personality at this point. It's so great, guys. I've been completely converted. What did I buy? What was my choice? So someone I know has a candle company here in Korea, and I tried to limit myself to just one of her autumn scents. This is Autumn Breeze, a relaxing blend of apple, cinnamon, and cedar wood. Oh, that's good. That's gonna be really good to transition into winter. That cedar makes it feel almost Christmassy. Oh, excellent. Big fan. I'll link her down below if you're in Korea. She doesn't ship internationally yet, but now, I do have another bookish thing. My last thing, I promise. I did a bad thing. I've already said this in the video, but you guys know that I don't buy physical books. For so many reasons. The library is wonderful. I live in a very small apartment that is already filled with books, etc. However, I really not only loved the books themselves, but the covers, the UK covers of Once Upon a Broken Heart, the entire trilogy. And I bought them in paperback. I don't know why I got them. I think I enjoy the reading experience of reading a paperback more, but then I realized I just wanted the hardcover, and so I bought them again in hardcover. And I have no regrets, but I feel kind of embarrassed about it. So like, I'm gonna use the paperbacks to be the ones that I like read and just devour and make a mess of, and then the hardcovers are going to be my like beautiful on the shelf books, because look at these covers. This is Once Upon a Broken Heart. Stunning. I don't think I got any that have like extra stuff. Oh, I guess I do. And then the actual book. Like, Like, what? So yeah, I just got this. I've been waiting for this to arrive because I have had this one for about a month. I got it like a month prior. Look at that. How beautiful. Never after. Look at these books. They're just so pretty. Like the details here, I have like these have mushrooms and rabbits. The mushrooms on the back. And then this one I have, there's foxes. Like it's just so good. It's so good. So yeah, I have these now in hardcover and I'm just waiting for a Curse of True Love. Oh, I'm so happy. So that is my official book haul. Truly, how great. And so anyway, I also promised you that I was going to tell you about what I read on the airplane, and why was that the longest flight I've ever been on in my life? Normally, if a flight is less than 10 hours, easy, like that's a short flight for me. The flight to Atlanta on the way there to visit my family was 13 hours. I think we actually made like incredible time. I think it was like 12 hours and something minutes. That seemed to go by really quickly. I think I only read one book, but it was fine. It worked out. Going home, it's 16 hours. It's okay. I can survive. It's not my first time flying that. I've flown that many, many times. But for some reason, yesterday, that flight felt like an eternity. I had finished a book. I had already slept a ton, so I thought, and we had only flown for 4 hours. And I just looked at Kurt like, what? Like, what is happening with time? And even he was just like, I don't know. This is the longest flight. Like, it was as if time, we like just were flying in circles. I don't know. It was so long. So I think what made the flight feel even longer is that the book that I read wasn't good. So let me preface this. I had a book that I had read 50% of. I finished that on the flight, loved it. I will talk about it in a second. But I promised you that I was going to read a duet with a siren duke. This is what I thought was the final book in the Married for Magic series, which is a collection of standalones that are loosely tied together. Actually, this one is really tied in with the other romance stories that are happening within this world called Midscape, which is the like fantasy world that is separated from the human realm by something called the Fade or the Veil, depending, right? So they had the fairy prince, the elf king, the vampire lord, and now they have a siren duke. That was it. It was supposed to be 4. And I was going to read this and be done with it, just to like let you know how the series concludes. Tell me why there is listed a 5th book coming out next year. The Wolf something? No. So no. This book solidified the fact that I am done. I'm washing my hands of this trilogy. I don't need to know. I didn't mind, like the Elf King was just like an enemies to lovers book that we knew we were gonna get, right? It was fine. The Fairy Prince or Fae Prince or whatever also wasn't that bad. It was a little confusing, but like, again, if you wanted to scratch that itch of like exactly what this book markets itself as, which is an enemies to lovers forced marriage trope, it did the thing. The Vampire Lord was so not great. It was so long. It was like 500 something pages. This book is 550 pages. I am 36, let's call it 40. I'm 40% of the way through. I'm gonna call it that this is potentially the worst book. And I got a couple comments when I posted about it on Instagram that people agree that this is her worst book. So what do I have to say about it? So as we know, all the books in this series contain the forced marriage trope, which I don't like. I started it because I kept seeing the Elf King book on Instagram and I'm just nosy and I just wanted to know what it was about, and so I decided to continue it just to like see and make a video about it. So just like a disclaimer, forced marriage is not my cup of tea. This one is about a girl who is in a abusive relationship. I don't think it's physically abusive, but it's definitely emotionally abusive. She's very literally isolated. She lives on an island with a lighthouse with a really emotionally abusive husband. And that is addressed. There's actually a note from the author in the beginning to give you a warning that that's what she's dealing with, and that's what she's trying to talk about with this book, is how you recover from emotional abuse. I just find it odd that the prologue, the book starts with her escaping, deciding, like, she gets in a boat and she's like, fuck this, I'm leaving. Tries to get away from her husband when her tiny little boat capsizes and the waters around her lighthouse are filled with sea monsters and sirens. And so she gets taken by some of the sirens, but one of them weirdly rescues her. And he's basically like, I'll let you live, but I'm gonna come and collect your soul in 5 years. Is that okay with you? And she's like, yes, I just want to get home to see my family and set things right and live a little bit. And sure, you can have my soul in 5 years. No biggie. And so the story continues from there. So I just find it a little strange that the whole point of this woman's story is that she's trying to escape from a marriage that she was kind of tricked and forced into, only to be tricked and forced into another marriage. And that marriage is supposed to be like the good one. I don't know. Like, it just, nothing has really been explained. Again, I'm 40% of the way through. The siren doesn't talk a lot. They don't really have any relationship. She is starting to be into him because she, for the 5 years that she was free, was captain of a ship, and he is like the leader. He's a duke, so he's like the leader of his troops. When she sees him like sacrificing himself and like, you know, trying to save all of his men, it reminded her of when she was a captain. And so like that's why they're bonding. But it's like, there are lots of other captains of ships and like leaders of armies. There's nothing else other than he's a hot guy with a tail. So yeah, I'm not understanding it. I will say the thing that hurts me is that, like I said, this is tied together with the other books. So if you've read, this isn't a spoiler, but like in one of the books, they talk about the Applegate Trading Company. And like, I think it's the dad of the Fae, the girl in the Fae Prince one. But the dad owns this trading company or something like that. This girl works for him. So he's in this book, the dad that we never see in the Fae Prince. The dad is in this book. It's very weird. But overall, yeah, I've read over 200 pages and I'm getting nothing from this. So I had to stop. I read probably like 50 pages and then I fell asleep on my flight and just kept going in and out of sleep. The girl in front of me was watching Titanic and bless her heart, fast forwarded through everything until she saw Jack and Rose in a scene together. She was just like, no, nothing else. And I loved that. But anyway, so that's what I didn't read. That's what I attempted to read and didn't read. What did I finish though? Let me tell you about it. Shout out to, I'll put the comment here, whoever recommended this to me. Thank you so much. I read Paladin's Grace. This is by T. Kingfisher. I don't know how this author writes the amount that she writes. There is so much T. Kingfisher content for you. And I'm so happy that I tried another one of her books because I've said this before, but I didn't love Nettle and Bone. I will stand by that. I think that the pacing, something about Nettle and Bone I didn't love, but I gave other works a try and I do love her. So Paladin's Grace, I thought it was a trilogy because there's Paladin's Grace, Paladin's Strength, and Paladin's Hope or something like that in this series, but they're actually 3 different standalones. So, so good to know. This book was really cute. It was totally unexpected. I started reading it the day before my flight, thinking I would just kind of read a couple pages, and I read 50% in one day because I just couldn't stop. It takes place in a world where there are all of these gods, and all of the gods have people who work for them. So they have either like, you know, priests or acolytes, but they also have paladins, which are soldiers that have given over their soul or, you know, whatever to the gods, and they are the gods' soldiers. But for our main character, Stephen, his god died. And at least in this book, we don't get any background of what happened. He may or may not have been murdered, and people didn't know that that could happen to gods. So, and basically because of that, he feels completely empty, like his reason to live is gone. And it's not just like a broken heart, it's like he feels a physical pain, something missing in his body because the god is gone. And they were trained soldiers. Like his particular god was kind of a warrior god, and so without the god there's no one to regulate their warrior instincts, I guess. So sometimes the soldiers will have the tide come over them and they will just kind of go berserk, as they say, and start attacking things, and they have no control over their body. We follow him as he is trying to navigate life after his god has died, and he's just constantly scared of losing control. He feels incredibly guilty because the day that the god died, most of his fellow soldiers went so crazy that there was like a massacre. Some of them killed themselves. To the point where now there's only really 7 of them left. And so he has kind of been adopted by this other god, and they're allowed to work on the premises as like bodyguards because that's literally all they're kind of capable of doing now. And one day he runs across this girl who needs a little bit of help, a little bit of rescuing, but she wouldn't like to call it rescuing, and he just can't get her out of his mind. And it's a dual POV, so we learn that the girl feels the same. She is a perfumer, and they end up getting wrapped up in this very strange plot about a guy going around beheading people and like assassination attempts and poisonings, and I can't even explain. Like the plot was fine, the plot was good, but it wasn't even that important. I just really liked reading about these 2 awkward adults. They were like both in their late 30s, I think, just like being so awkward. I really enjoyed it. So it's mostly a romance, honestly, but like in a way that isn't overtly a romance, or maybe it is. I don't know. I feel like I'm not selling it well because I just was taken by surprise by this book. It loses points for using the term ample breasts and for using the word breasts so much. And she also used one of my ick terms for the male reproductive organ. So she lost a few points, but overall I just thought the banter was so cute. It was just really fun, and like I said, it was a standalone. I think it's 300 something pages, but it was great. It was a fantasy, but mostly romance, but not toxic in any way. It was just really like 2 adults that have not flirted in like over a decade, and they just don't know how to go about it. And I thought it was great. So that was Paladin's Grace. I recommend. I will be continuing the series, but I'm gonna kind of keep that for a rainy day kind of thing. Because I know that I love her writing. So yes. Anyway, I'm going to edit this up for you and unpack. I haven't even unpacked. I literally just rolled out of bed, took a shower, went to Starbucks, and now I'm talking to you. So I'm gonna sort my life out, and I hope you guys are all doing well. Once again, link down below for Skillshare. Thank you so much for sponsoring this. The first 500 people to click that link will not only get a free month of Skillshare, but they'll also get 40% off of their first year of Skillshare membership. I have missed the city. There is strange construction going on. Never a dull day in Seoul. Anyway, so yeah, I look forward to chatting with you next. I'm so excited to lose my mind. Curse for True Love is coming out on the 24th. I am prepared to start reading these a few days before so that on the 24th I can devour this book, and hopefully I will have a video up to talk to you about it like within the next few days after that. I'm very excited for October to take this journey with you. Yeah, I will catch you guys later. Thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring, and I will link everything that I can down below. Hope you had a great October, and see you next time. Bye!